Hey guys, I'm Mike Rivers with the Rivers Group at Compass Real Estate, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about something that costs people looking for homes and apartments thousands and thousands of dollars, and that is scammers taking advantage of those people on real estate sites like Zillow. And guys, I understand that there are a million different reasons why people choose not to work with real estate agents in their home search, in their apartment search, and I'm not here to convince you to use a real estate agent like myself, even if it is the safer play, and I'm also not here to tell you exactly what I think about these scammers.
Your soul is dog. Every single thing about you is ugly.
I'm here to show you exactly how to identify these scams and avoid them at all costs. And it's not just Zillow, it's sites like Trulia, Realtor.com, Apartments.com. There are a million different sites like this, and I'm going to dive into exactly how to avoid these scams. And this is going to include actually a scam that I recently ran into on Facebook. So guys, first it's important to understand the difference between an MLS or multiple listing service listing and one that's listed on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, or one of those real estate database websites. So as a licensed real estate agent in Massachusetts, I have the ability to post a listing on the MLS that then populates for all of the other brokerages in the US, like Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, Century 21, Compass. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard these names all over the place. So if you punch an address into Google that's listed for sale, all of these different results are going to come up, and all of the different brokerages are going to have their own page dedicated to that listing, all pulling from the multiple listing service. Then you have sites like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Redfin, Apartments.com. These are real estate marketplace databases essentially. And they all pull those same listings from the multiple listing service. So you have the MLS listings pulling into the brokerage websites. And in addition to that, you have the listings pulling into sites like Zillow and Trulia. The major difference between MLS listings and Zillow listings is Zillow and these platforms like it all allow owners, property managers, real estate agents, sometimes tenants. They can all post directly to these platforms without going through a licensed real estate agent and posting it on the MLS. So basically, anyone with an email address can generate a listing and put it on Zillow. I can do it, you can do it, and someone on the other side of the world with a made-up name and an email address can post a listing on Zillow. So how are these scammers going about these scams? Well, the most common one I see is they'll actually go onto Zillow, they'll set up their own profile, and then they'll go find an apartment or a home that's either recently sold or recently been rented, one that's recently been on the platform, and they'll have access to the listing photos. So usually the ones that are recently sold or recently listed, they're marked as inactive, but they'll still have access to all of those listing photos. Then they go in and download all of those listing photos, all of the listing details to their own devices, and on their profiles, they'll repost the listing, but essentially they'll use an old sale listing and post it as a new rental listing. They'll drop the rental rates. They'll have all of the identical property data. So if you go in and look at the property, it's an actual real property, and then they'll drop the rental rates to a little bit below market. And that way they're maximizing the amount of eyes and attention that are on these listings. And they're basically leveraging that little tool that Zillow has where you can see how many views each property has. And they're using that to their advantage to create a sense of competition, scarcity, and really rush people into this scam. So the property's getting all this attention. People start asking for tours of the property. The scammer says, yeah, no problem at all. I'll meet you at the property tonight, 7 p.m. I just need to hold your spot. Look at all of these views that the property has. There's a ton of competition. So if you want me to hold your place and make sure I don't show the property to anyone else, I just need a quick deposit of $500, $1,000. And that way I'll hold your place in the line and I'll meet you at the property tonight. The scammer has no intention of meeting these people at the property, but because of the rush that these people feel behind them and the amount of competition, it's hard enough to get your hands on a property or an apartment these days. They say, okay, we need to hold our spot. Here's $500, here's $1,000. The amount of people that fall for this is absolutely insane. And guys, I understand that everything is at our fingertips these days. It's very easy to do things just by punching away on our iPhones, iPads, laptops, without actually meeting someone face to face or talking to them on the phone. And trust me, these scammers are just licking their lips, looking at an entire generation of people who are not quick to get on the phone or to meet somebody anybody in person. Everything is at their fingertips, so they're going to take advantage of all of these new apartment hunters, people that are in college, graduating college, new to renting an apartment, that are used to having, you know, all the solutions at their fingertips. So they're so easy to scam. And if I was back in college, I would almost certainly fall for this scam. I just didn't know what I didn't know back then. And people that are new to getting into apartment rentals, they don't have any experience in real estate. They don't really have many resources to turn to outside of a real estate agent, and most people don't want to pay a real estate agent. So there are tons of people falling for these scams and just donating money to these scammers on the other side of the world. Okay, so before I get into identifying and coming up with solutions to avoid these scammers, I'm going to jump into another quick scam that I was a part of recently. And basically what happened was I got a random call from an individual who rang up my personal cell phone and said, "Hey, Mike, I looked up your cell phone number from your real estate brokerage, and I just wanted to move our appointment for tonight. I'm not going to be able to make the showing." And I said, "Well, that's perfect considering I never made an appointment with anyone to show an apartment tonight." And they said, "Oh yeah, we were talking on Facebook, and I sent you that deposit to get me in for the tour." And this guy actually sends me a screenshot of his Facebook Messenger application talking to someone, and who's in the little bubble that he's talking to but my picture that I've recently posted. It wasn't my current profile picture. So I'm thinking to myself, did my account get hacked? Did I get blackout drunk and start booking tours with people? Not unheard of for a real estate agent to do. So here's what happened there. This unsuspecting young man is just looking for a sublet, someone whose lease he can take over for a few months, and he was looking on Facebook groups, and this specific group was called Cambridge, Mass. Housing, Rooms, Apartments, Sublets, and Roommates. Sounds promising. There's about 30,000 people that are part of this group, so it must be legit, right? So he posted what he was looking for, basically a short-term rental sublet in Cambridge. So then this guy gets immediately direct messaged by a profile that almost exactly matches my profile, my personal Facebook profile, and he got direct message on Facebook Messenger that he had the perfect apartment for him, exactly what he needed. Here's a few pictures of it. Can you see it tonight? I just need a quick deposit and I'll get you in there for a tour. This kid said, "Perfect, I want to hold on to my spot, so here's $1,000 for the deposit for the apartment." Sends the guy $1,000. This kid finds my number, which he should have done in the first place, finds me online, finds my actual phone number through my real estate brokerage contact information, calls me up. This was before the guy ghosts him, and he says he has to move the appointment. He didn't have my phone number, so he looked it up, wanted to move the appointment time. I said, "Listen, you got scammed. I didn't make an appointment with you." So then I realized that there is an exact replica of my Facebook profile out there, and this person who's running it is jumping into these Facebook groups, direct messaging people who are looking for certain things, and basically eliciting deposits from them. And he is making a killing doing it because there's a lot of people that are just eager to grab something. They don't want their position taken. It's really hard to find a rental, so they're sending these deposits so they can hold their spot without thinking this could possibly be a scam. So I did report this issue to Facebook, and they responded that this fake profile was not against their community standards. And after about 7 seconds of doing my own research, I discovered that this was in fact blatantly against their community standards. So that's an ongoing issue. Super surprising from Facebook considering their near perfect record dealing with misinformation. The point is, you cannot rely on Facebook, Zillow, Craigslist, any of these sites to keep you out of trouble here. In fact, the larger they are, probably the less likely they are able to deal with the amount of scammers that they have on their sites. So you're on your own here. You're going to have to take some of your own proper precautions.
It's a hazmat suit. That stands for hazardous materials men's suit wearing.
Now, the first rule is this: do not under any circumstances send money to someone that you have never met in person or before you get in for an apartment tour. This is going to seem very obvious to many of you, but these people are targeting people that are brand new to this. They're looking for less expensive apartments and homes. They're targeting people that just don't have the experience to deal with these scams that are happening every single day. But no legitimate property owner, property manager, real estate agent, tenant is going to ask you for a deposit before you set foot in the building. It just doesn't happen if it's a legitimate listing. So what can you expect to be asked? Well, most of these property owners, property managers, some real estate agents that list their properties off the MLS but are still posting on sites like Zillow, they're going to want to qualify you as a tenant first, but they're not going to ask for money. They're going to ask if you are making a certain income, that you're going to be able to cover the rent, if you have references, what your credit score is. They're not going to ask you for an application, a credit report, recent pay stubs, personal information that's going to expose your identity. They're just going to to ask you some basic questions to make sure you're actually going to qualify for the apartment. Do not send these people any applications filled out or pay stubs or credit reports before you actually get in and make sure they're a legitimate person and that's a legitimate listing online. Now, the more bold scammers out there are going to be just fine jumping on a phone call with you and lying to you over a phone call. But most of these people are operating within the messenger tools of these platforms that you use to find the listing to begin with. But here's a couple of other things to look out for. If you are supposedly talking to a real estate agent, it's obviously not enough based on what happened to me to just go onto the real estate agent's brokerage website and make sure they're in fact a local real estate agent in the area, because this guy just basically duplicated my profile, pretended to be me, and I am a real estate agent working in the Boston area. So don't just verify it by going onto the brokerage website and then continue speaking to these people within that Facebook application. You want to go to the brokerage website, find their legitimate cell phone number, their contact information, and reach out directly with that contact information on the brokerage website. But first, make sure some of these brokerages are smaller name brokerages. Make sure that they have a local Google location. Maybe there's a few decent reviews on there, but make sure it's an actual business that's operating in the area. If you are supposedly talking to a property owner, you can actually go onto the town or city's assessor's database. There's public information that's available to you. You can see who actually owns these properties and just make sure their name matches up with the name that you've been given. If you are supposedly talking to a property manager, you should be able to go onto that property management website, go into their team page, find the individual that you're supposedly talking to, and verify that they're an actual property manager in the area. And if they are, they should have no problem getting into that property and doing a live tour or video tour of the apartment at your request. So make sure that they're actually working in the area and they can give you a quick video tour of the apartment before you get in there. If you're supposedly talking to a current tenant that's offering a sublet, maybe you're taking over someone's lease for a few months, they should have absolutely no problem jumping on a video call with you and showing you the apartment and that those listing photos match exactly where they're listing and that the apartment is a legitimate real estate listing. If you think you might actually be talking to a scammer on one of these applications, try to get them on the phone, try to get them on a video call, try to meet them in person as fast as possible. Ask them very specific questions about the apartment, the neighborhood, the area that they're not going to be able to answer if they're on the other side of the world. If they start talking up the apartment without pre-qualifying you, that's a huge red flag. Most of these owners and managers that have been in the business for long enough want to make sure the tenant is going to be a good fit before they start doing tours, but they don't do that by asking for deposits. They do it by asking questions like, what's your rental history? What's your income? What's your credit score? They're trying to qualify you. So if they start pushing the apartment on you without getting that information from you, that is a huge red flag, and they're likely just trying to get you to that point where you're going to be able to make a deposit. So overall, guys, just proceed cautiously. Look for those red flags. I know it's exhausting. It's overwhelming. Looking for an apartment, it's super competitive and you have to be quick. But these scammers are relying on the competition out there. They're relying on people feeling rushed and making quick, stupid decisions. And that's how they're getting all of these deposits. So please do not send money to people that you have never met without verifying that they are a legitimate person and that you're looking at a legitimate listing. Guys, feel free to shoot us a message. I have no problem pointing people in the right direction, letting them know how to at least get their foot in the door if the listing is legitimate. I can set up a quick collection of legitimate properties for you, whether you want to work with me or not. People should not be forced to work with real estate agents, but just know that those scammers are out there praying that people do not work with real estate agents. So you just have to arm yourself and know what to expect whether you choose to work with a realtor or not. Guys, these scammers are everywhere and they are absolutely cleaning up because people just do not know how to protect themselves. They're just underinformed. And people that are out there pretending to be licensed real estate agents like myself are everywhere. I'm not the only agent getting their name dragged through the mud just trying to make a living for myself, but these people are everywhere duplicating Facebook profiles and pretending to be real estate agents that are actually out there existing in the market. So if you know someone who is planning a move, looking for a property, maybe they're in college, maybe they have college age kids, please share this video with them so they know how to protect themselves. Guys, if this was even remotely helpful, please let me know by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. I'm trying to provide some great value here. If you have questions, if you have comments about how to make this a little bit more informative, please let me know in the comments. And if you guys have a real estate scam story, please share it in the comments below. Let people know what to look out for. We're trying to help people out as much as possible here. So if you have your own story, maybe it's a different take on a scam that you were a part of, please let people know what to look for. And if you are looking for a place in the Boston area, please fill out that form in the description so the real Mike Rivers can get back to you and point you in the right direction. And guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe for more great Boston real estate content. See you guys soon.